If you don't know, now you know. You can add volume to your braids in a matter of minutes using just water. So if you want to see how to take your braids from straight to stunning, stay tuned because I've got 4 ways to curl your braids. This set of braids you may recognize from my 30-minute braid video. This is actually a braided wig from Neat and Sleek that I curled with perm rods, but today I'm going to transform the ends of this unit to a crinkly wave pattern. To get the crinkle effect, I'm simply going to braid the ends of the hair all the way down to the ends. Now the size of the braid will determine how tight of a pattern you get. If I wanted tighter waves, I would do more braids, maybe 10 or so. But in this case, I want a pretty wavy loose look, so I'm going to only do 5 braids. This hair is pretty sturdy, so I don't need anything to keep the ends from unraveling. But if you think that they'll unravel, you can secure them with a rubber band or a clip. Another thing I like to do also when I do this is maybe use a very small perm rod at the ends to kind of like curl them under, and I won't have to clip them off as much. Now that I have the hair braided, it's time to prepare the water. The key to all of today's techniques is hot boiling water. Most synthetic hair can be manipulated with indirect heat. Direct heat, like fire or high temp flat irons, can burn the hair. Using indirect heat on the synthetic fibers will mold the hair. Back in the day, we used to boil water in a pot on the stove, but today we have these handy electric kettles. Mine you see here is from Amazon and holds just enough water to complete my task. At full capacity, this takes about 8 to 9 minutes to reach boiling temp. You want the water to be as hot as possible to get the maximum effect on the hair. So typically I'll start the kettle when I'm about 5 to 10 minutes from completing a style. If you turn the water on, then let it sit, the temp will go down and you will lose that maximum heat you need. Even though I only use my kettle for hair, I still like to transfer it to a wide lip pitcher so I'm not battling the lid when I go to dip the ends. When dipping the ends, it's important for you to have thick towels handy to act as a barrier so you don't burn yourself or your client. I'm simply going to dip the ends, hold them in the water for 5 to 10 seconds, release, pat dry, then I'm going to let them cool down. The cool down time is the most important part. At high heat, the hair will still be moldable, and when it cools down, it's set. In this case, I let the braids sit for a few minutes, but if you're pressed for time, using a blow dryer on cool setting will speed things along. And there you have it. I went from curls to waves in a matter of minutes. You may end up with straight pieces at the end, especially if you didn't set them with the perm rods. Some folks don't mind the straight pieces, but I prefer to trim them down. Up next, I'm going to show you 3 curls with 3 different tools. The first 2 will be with flexi rods. Flexi rods are great because you can curl more hair per rod and get a consistent downward spiral. The smaller the flexi rod, the tighter the curl. So this first one that I'm doing is the tighter one. This is a smaller flexi rod, and I'm just winding it around the hair, locking it into place. And that is it. The second one is I think it's a 1/2 inch or a 3/4 inch one. They do go up pretty large, but I really like this one because you get a really nice loose curl. And that's how they both look. The third one is an old school trick. When you don't have perm rods, flexi rods, or straws laying around, using a piece of string or yarn gets the job done. I'm going to curl the hair around it, then push the hair up to tighten the spiral. Using this method will give you a slightly different curl because it will be broader at the top and gradually get smaller towards the ends. This trick is really handy for curling a lot of hair at one time also. Once I've got all my curls set, I'm going to dip them in the water, let them hold there for about 5 to 10 seconds, sometimes shorter. The looser the hair, the shorter you have to leave it in the water. Gonna towel dry it a little bit. I don't want to press on the curl too much with the towel because that will continue to mold the hair and flatten out the curl. Especially for this last one with the string, I don't want to touch it at all. I'm gonna let it sit and be on its own. And then I set them aside and let them cool off, and then we're going to release them. This is what the small curl looks like. And what I like to do is if I see any straight pieces, I will trim them down. And to set the curls, I'm going to use this Vigorol mousse. I find it works very well for synthetic hair. It's basically going to clump the curls and make everything nice and neat and last a whole lot longer. And here's an example of what that looks like on a live client. Next, we have our larger flexi rod. This is my favorite because you get more of a romantic loose curl with this. Trimming and then setting with the mousse. And here's an example of what that looks like on a live client. Look how gorgeous that movement is. It's absolute favorite. Last, we have our curl with the string. Remember, we did not touch it because we did not want to disturb the molding process. I'm just going to pull the string off, and then you see that straight piece on the end. I trim right where the wave stops on that one. And you see how it's larger at the top and tighter at the bottom. So it's a graduated curl. Very pretty indeed. And here is what it looks like on a live client. So pretty, you guys. Straight to curly. So that completes today's video, you guys. We had perm rods, flexi rods, yarn, braids as ways you can volumize your braids. You practically could use anything that won't melt in boiling water. As always, if you learned something, make sure you thumbs up this video and share it with a friend, and tell us in the comments, how do you like to wear your braids? Straight, wavy, or curly? If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more content like this every week. Links to all the products and tools used in this video will be listed in the description box below. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching today, you guys. Stay safe out there, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!